recording.
Well, I gotta wait for Andy. Give us a minute or so, folks. We're waiting for another board member.
There it is.
Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, to the Porter County Redevelopment Commission meeting of March 25th, 2005. We are going to service our agenda, and at the end of the agenda, I understand that there's many people here that like to ask a question or two about this data center business. So we'll get to you. We should get through this agenda pretty quickly, so you won't have a real long. Start with the roll call.
Jim Biggs.
Here.
Andy Vasquez.
Present.
Jason Gilliani.
Here.
Bill Herring.
Here.
Ralph Neff.
Here.
Andrew Maletta.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Consent agenda. Mike?
Before
we go, that I believe we had one member maybe not here last time that needs to be sworn in. Mr. Gilliano, were you here at the last meeting?
I was not.
All right, why don't we go ahead and have you sworn in before we take official.
Go ahead.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jason Gilliana,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Redevelopment Commission of Porter County, Indiana,
as a member of the Redevelopment Commission for Porter County, Indiana,
according to law,
according to the law,
to the best of my skill and ability,
to the best of my skill and ability,
so help you God.
so help me God.
Feel different?
Sorry, Mr. President, you do have your board.
You're official now. Now the consent agenda, Mike.
Okay, before you in your packet, you have the minutes from the February 25th, 2025 RDC meeting. You have financial reports counting for all our balances, and then you have the approval of claims, which are very few. Recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. New business or financial report?
That's yes, the annual report. Every year you have to prepare and approve an annual report. With me, I've got our consultant, Dan Bowditch. He will explain what's before you for your consideration.
Go ahead, Dan.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I apologize for my voice. My allergies got to me, so it's been a long day. But that's a nice thing. That means spring is coming for me. Before you, and I did provide to Mike as well as Susan for your pack and review. There is I can provide you mine if you like, Commissioner.
Would you be so kind?
Yeah, I have it on my computer, so I can go through.
Oh, he's got one. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is the 2024 annual report of the Redevelopment Commission. It is required under IC 36-7-14, Section 15 by April 15th. It is required that there are a number of items that are reported for the DLGF Gateway TIF Management Platform. In that, and is included under section number 1, the names of the qualified and acting commissioners for fiscal year 2024, names of the officers of the commission, number of regular employees and fixed salaries or compensation, the amount of expenditures made during the preceding year, and their general purpose, an accounting of tax increment revenues, the amount of funds on hand at the close of the calendar year, and other information necessary to disclose the activities of the commission. This is all included in the report. Under section 3, you will see all the statutory requirements are being met. Members and officers, it shows each commissioner when they were appointed, their appointing authority, including the non-voting member for the Portage Township School Corporation that serves within unincorporated areas of Porter County. The commission officers that were that held office last year from January 30th through December 31st, 2024, identifies the treasurer as the county auditor as the fiscal officer by statute. Section number 5, any standing committees. The commission did not establish any standing committees, but however, the commission did establish and launch the Porter County Redevelopment Commission Business Council. We've identified those members that were appointed at that time. So there are a number of individuals from the townships that business council, the intent of the business council was for communications of land use development and business development throughout unincorporated unincorporated Porter County. Section number 5 is the commission meetings. There were a total of 12 regular meetings, one per month last year. I apologize, there is a typo. There's total meetings says 30, it should read 12. We identified the dates of those meetings and whether they were a regular meeting, special meeting, study session, or executive session. They were all regular meetings. Commission staff. The commission did not retain or engage any staff, so there were no salaries. Under professional services and vendors, they are identified under this section. A total of $71,860.66 were spent on professional services and identified by the type of professional service and the company name. Under vendors, it was a total of $82,541.23. Once again, identified by company, the vendor service, and the fees that were paid. Last year, for your resolutions, the action was one resolution, 2024-01. It was a resolution to approve your capture notice, which is required annually to the Porter County Auditor. Under section number 9, your fiscal goals for 2024 were developing the Porter County Redevelopment Commission Business Council, economic development, local economic development organization outreach and education, which included a presentation by Rex Richards as the president of the Valparaiso Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corporation, and an official tour of the St. Joseph County redevelopment projects for commission members. In addition, there was attendance and sponsorship of the Rail Summit 2024 in the city of Chicago in conjunction with the Valparaiso Economic Development Corporation. There was an identification of potential grants available through the Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA, a Porter County broadband survey, and the Porter County Land Use and Transportation Plan update, which eventually worked with and determined to work with and engaged MKSK Inc. of Indianapolis to prepare an update. Individual redevelopment projects included Project Ribeye, which is south of Hebron, and additional work and strategy for economic development in the South Haven allocation area. New initiatives that were included were the South Haven Education and Worker Training Grant Program, and a residential housing development program identification, which was not ultimately confirmed or declared or confirmed by the uh, commission. Next on the list was a summary of commission funds report for 2024. Your redevelopment general fund started with a balance on January 1st, 2024 of zero. It had receipts of I'm going to round up here, $1,382,505. Had capital expenditures of $184,954, with an ending balance on December 31st of $1,197,550. It is my understanding that those dollars were transferred from the county's general fund from local option income tax dollars. The South Haven allocation area fund was distributed. It started with a balance of zero. It was distributed $11,532.64, and there were no expenditures. The county redevelopment commission does not have any issued obligations for which there is a pledge of tax increment or a tax levy on a redevelopment district bond. Under section number 12, County of Tax Increment Revenue, the Redevelopment Commission did pledge $957.77 for the South Haven TIF School Grant Program. However, to my knowledge, those funds were never issued to any school corporation, but were pledged towards the educational and institutional education of students in the global economy. Section number 13, the distribution of tax increment revenue. You can see that the distributions in on June 11th and December 10th totaled $6,385.13, and for December was $5,147.51, which totaled out to the $11,632. There is one allocation area that is declared and confirmed. Under Exhibit B is a list of all the individual components, but it is known as and identified as the South Haven allocation area. For tax increment revenue purposes, it is identified as TIF number 18, Porter County South Haven T64632 for DLGF coding purposes. A map is included in Appendix C of the allocation area, and contact information is Mike Jabo, the Executive Director of the Development and Stormwater Management Department, as the Executive Director, as well as the acting staff person for the Redevelopment Commission. Appendix A is a detail of the funds showing what is available by redevelopment fund, local grants, distributions, other receipts, land and building rental, and total of transfers. Again, the year started out with a beginning balance of zero and ended with $1,353,009.55. And as far as other funds, we've identified other funds of $4,220 with expenses, which ties out to your $1,197,550.81 of available funds for fiscal year 2025. Under the Exhibit B, all the individual components, there were a total of 114 parcel counts or individual components. The total gross assessed value was $22.5 million. The net assessed value after exemptions, deductions, and credits was $20,101,000. The base assessment, which is the AV that is included in each overlapping taxing unit's net certified AV, is $19,404,812. The redevelopment captured increment of $696,608, which was then translated into the $11,000 that became your tax increment distribution. And finally, on Exhibit C, you will find the map of the South Haven allocation area for your purposes and identification. This report, once presented and motion for approval, it's not required to be approved by resolution, into the minutes, will be uploaded into the DLGF Gateway TIF Management System for public viewing. as well as to meet the statutory requirements.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
And if, Mr. President,
Yes.
in addition to this file, for the subsequent meeting in April, we'll have your capture notice prepared. That is due June 15th, so we'll have that in early. And number 3 is an overlapping taxing unit presentation to all the overlapping taxing units. It is an abridged version of this annual report. It is due by December 31st, but normally we do that in May to get it out of the way. We front load everything so that you're more than timely on all your recorded filings. And lastly, I do want to thank the Office of the Auditor, Dave Wischlinski, who provided all the financial information, backup information, as well as Susan Hale, who put the information together and really did a yeoman's job in putting the information together to be more efficient, as well as Mike J. Bowen sitting down and filling in any less details that were necessary. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Approval of claims.
I think we're in item 2B.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion as well as we have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Excuse me, Mr. President, the motion was on which item?
That claims.
Oh, claims. Okay, very good.
New business and report. Dan,
That's what he just went through.
I believe you should gave that, right?
Mhm.
Professional services agreement to contract Barnes and Thornburg LLP for special counsel services for 2025. Mike, could you explain?
This is an as-needed contract, only when needed to supplement current counsel. Barnes and Thornburg, specifically Tom Pittman, is pretty much a regional expert on TIF allocation areas and other matters such as what you deal with. We do have our South Haven TIF area, and is our goal this year to see what we can do to kickstart that area. That is a foreseeable task that we could have him do when needed, or his staff to supplement. And that is the purpose of doing it. Much of the same as we got Dan Bowditch in to help us with our financial report and consulting. I don't know if Attorney McClure would like to add any color to that as well.
As needed. And it's at the direction of this board. Standard procedure.
Do you have any questions by board members? This is just a single year contract.
That is correct.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Motion approved. Commission member comments.
If we have one other piece of business.
What is that?
The last meeting, we had a discussion amongst the board members, especially a couple of the new ones here, about whether or not to change the schedule of the meeting. Sometimes this meeting, historically, since I've been here the year, meeting is always the same night as the council meeting right before. Sometimes they do have their foundation meetings, which does put a push on this meeting. I'm just simply giving you some dates that are available for your consideration. We can continue the schedule that's already published, or you may decide if you want to change. I leave it up to you.
Comment from board members.
If I may, Mr. President, one of the problems is that every quarter we have the foundation meeting and this meeting and then the county council meeting right afterwards. And if the meetings run long, we do a disservice of those who are willing to comment at the end of the meeting at the county council end. So I had asked at the last meeting if there was a possibility of changing the day, or B, putting this a little bit earlier. Just something to think about. It doesn't have to be in stone. We'll have to learn how to deal with it if it stays the same.
Well, yeah, I think you make two good points, Andy, in that our council meetings are always on a Tuesday, and our foundation meetings are on a Tuesday. If it's the wish of the board to move this off of Tuesday, Mike can take a look at it, throw some dates.
There's a memo in the last page of your packet. I went and looked at the calendar when this room is available. I found 4 consistent days: first Monday of the month, fourth Monday of the month, first Wednesday of the month, and the second Thursday of the month. The first Mondays, of course, got some Monday holidays, but you can easily schedule around that. These are for 4:30 in the evening. They are pretty much wide open if that's what you want to do, or I can go look for some other date.
And just reminding the council, I'm only one person, so whatever you guys decide, I'll go with. That's all there is to it.
Your feelings? Come on, this ain't brain surgery. Let's pick a date so we're not.
I'll just say, for me, I know I'm an outvoting member, but Mondays are tough for me because those are the days that we have, the city has our plan commission meeting, and I have 2 school board meetings on Monday evenings. So I'm good any other time or moving this meeting up, but Mondays are not good for me.
So what's everybody's opinion about the second Thursday of each month?
Works.
It works.
Works?
I think so.
We'll need it in the form of a motion since this was
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we move our meeting to Thursday.
the second
Second Thursday. I apologize. Second Thursday for the RDC meeting
at 4:30
at 4:30.
For each month.
each month for the calendar year 25
For each month, calendar year 2025.
after today.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval to select the second Thursday of each month as our meeting date, and we have a second supporting that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've reached our public comment section. Just you show me a raise of hands of who would like to make comment. Just raise your hand. Okay, not too many. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you. I'm not big on giving people 2 or 3 minutes to speak. I'm going to give you the time you need to speak, but please don't abuse it. So if you come up, state your name, where you live, and we'll start there. So
Microphones here.
you've got a microphone here, and you got a microphone there. Who would like to come first? Oh, come on now. Don't be shy. All right. That's right, sir. That's right.
I guess that's what leadership's all about.
Table.
Is this on?
No, it needs to be turned on, sir.
All right, thank you so much. John Hunter, 255 East US Highway 6, Valparaiso, Indiana, representing Union Township Schools, 599 West, 300 North, Suite A, Valparaiso, Indiana. Obviously, we're here because we want to know more about what's going on with the data centers. There's pros and cons to data centers. We recognize that. We are concerned about the cons, specifically from a school standpoint. One of the potential locations of this is just over the railroad tracks directly to the north of our middle school, high school. Obviously, that causes us great concern due to traffic concerns that may appear, environmental concerns, noise concerns, emissions of gas, the amount of electricity and water that's required for data centers. But I'm also going to say, because of potential TIF districts that could be given, or tax abatements that could be given to the company that's presenting data centers, obviously that has a direct financial impact on the school corporations. If you're following the Indiana legislature at all, you can see that not only county governments, but schools are going to potentially be harmed by some of the legislation that's going to already impact our operations fund. So we would also like consideration of that. And finally, I would just say, as an initial discussion point, if we were here today to build a school and we wanted to do that near an industrial area, I am sure that because I've been before this board on several occasions, that you would have lots of questions about why we want to put a school next to an industrial area, such as a data center. I respectfully request that you have the same considerations about why you would want to put a data center that close to a school. Thank you.
Thank you. Before, I think this will help everybody too. Before we have our next person to speak.
Mike.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Before we have another person speak, what I'm going to ask, I think this will help everybody. I'm going to have the executive director of the Plan Commission, Mike Jabo, to briefly explain the process here of how this case is going to be heard, not by this body, but by the Plan Commission. So, Mike, if you could, please.
Okay. First, to set the record straight, it was a landowner who put in a petition to change the zoning of their land to allow, obviously, a construction of a data center. Everybody has a right, they can submit that in, but it's not automatically granted. It has to go through a step process according to our Unified Development Ordinance and, more specifically, the Indiana Code that addresses. And that first stop is, of course, our office to make sure they satisfied all our Unified Development Ordinance conditions. And then after that, when it's fully vetted for that, it goes to the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission is the only one that'll hear that initially. It won't be the council as it is in the cities and towns. In county government, it's a little different. The council is a fiscal body, and the commissioners are the legislative bodies. The Planning Commission serves to make recommendations to the commissioners. So ultimately, this question will be put before the commissioners, but first, according to Indiana Code, it must go through the Planning Commission. Some of you are in government, you totally understand that process. There's been no petition to the RDC or the council for any kind of financial incentives or anything to our knowledge. And therefore, the council has really no stake into this thing until such time as that occurs, which will all be public. The process for it, according to Indiana Code, is very robust in its public involvement process, both at the commissioner level as well as the starting level of the Plan Commission. It is required. No decisions can be made unless there's a robust public hearing process, which we always do on all our cases that appear before going for an ordinance. So just so the public may know, and for the press that are here I see, there will be a public involvement process where everybody will get a chance to speak and they will all be heard so that the case can be weighed in a proper way according to the code and to our ordinances.
All right, thank you, Mike. Now, just one more. I'm going to ask the county attorney or the board attorney here to give an explanation as why can't the county just kill this thing, just make it disappear?
The most simple answer is that we all, as American citizens, have due process. That larger term or legal meaning simply means that everyone in this room or anyone in this county can request or apply for a given request. In this case, it's a rezone. Everyone has that opportunity. Everyone has the has the right. Excuse me. Has the right for that process to be fulfilled, and then as that process goes through, at that point in time, there's a decision at the end. But the county doesn't have any individual authority to stop a petitioner or a landowner from making a request. It's incumbent upon the county to process that request fully and legally, bring it to the board in which we'll make the decision.
and allow that board to have all of the information in front of it so that it's ready to make that decision, whatever it may be. So ultimately, the due process allows anybody, and we do not have the ability to stop them at the beginning. The ability for us is to process the application, gather the information, get it to the board, and have the board make the decision.
Thank you, Scott. Who's the next speaker? Yes, sir. State your name, please, and you don't have to give your house address.
Hi, my name. I'm from Valpo. I was right next to the last data center proposal.
Yeah.
I live right next to the last data center proposal. I'm sorry, I'm not used to public speaking. I normally sit in the back and just let industry and everything take its place. And I feel that I greatly appreciate everything that you guys have done, and everything Valpo made changes, because I think a lot of people here feel that the people have been treated unfairly. A lot of us don't know the processes. I appreciate you guys putting people first, letting us speak, feeling our concerns. That's why we elected you guys. And we know that you're not making these decisions, but you represent us and you talk to these guys all the time. And obviously, not only Burns Harbor, Chesterton, and Valparaiso, we've all had a big unliking, that I'll say, of this for a lot of reasons. And I'm very big on everything in America, and like you guys just stated, which I greatly appreciate, that everybody's got their own right to do their own thing. But we all know how business and government works. And especially what just happened in Valpo, I'm not making any accusations, but it seemed really fishy, and a lot of bad stuff came out of all that. And I hope that none of that happens here with you guys. And obviously, there's a lot of people here that are outraged. When it was next to my house, I was outraged too. This is on the completely other end of the city. I still consider those people my neighbors, and you people are representing them. And we're talking 3 of possibly the biggest cities, I'd have to do my research, in Porter County, that were absolutely outraged. I personally got 200 people who signed up for yard signs against the Valpo one in 1 week. That's a strong statement. I think everybody here, as you just said, you're not voting on this, but you talk to these people, you do business with these people every single day. And I normally don't come to these county meetings, but I don't think you get a turnout like this, do you guys?
No, typically no.
So, and this just started. And by no means am I threatening it or anything. You guys are doing great by trying to control and be transparent with the Valpo stuff. There's people that have requested documents like you were just talking about. They're being blocked and denied. They're just asking for the estimates on the park and stuff. And I feel as an American, we're just asking for the transparency. And the people, they're terrified. The guy from the school, that is a huge concern. I feel that these things, I welcome large industry to the area, creating jobs. Business is a give and take. You have to give up some environmental issues or whatever, and we can debate on it, but you have to give back. And the governor, the House, and the Senate just passed, I don't know the bill, but requiring the people are eventually going to pay for all these upgrades to the grid and everything. Okay, are you going to bring a bunch of value to our community? I feel that these companies are only threading the needle through the loopholes and extorting the backs of the people because they're given the tax abatements. Well, if they're not bringing money to the area, it's nothing but negative. You know, look at your computers. After 3 or 5 years, you got to go get a new computer. What do you think these big ones are having? By the time their tax abatements are up, they're gone. So they're just, why don't they build them 50 miles south? Where unfortunately, there's always somebody going to be involved. And as politicians, you guys need to draw the line of, well, how many people can this affect or whatever? And that's a very hard decision. One of the reasons I'm not a politician, I don't want that burden on my shoulders. So just the school alone, I feel that this thing, and you're right, they can go do whatever they want, but we're urging you to make sure, because from what I've heard, and I don't know, but there's only 3 or 5 people that actually can put a stop to this once they go through the whole due process. 3. That's why these people are terrified. There's 3 people that, as everybody feels, the government has a lot of problems. It'll never be perfect. We get it. But you guys have represented us and you work with them. And all of these people are terrified that it's up to these 3 people after all of this work comes through, that whether it's money grab, whatever, extorting all the loopholes, the citizens paying for the upgrades to the grid to bring in new industry, great. I just heard Hyundai is bringing jobs to the United States. They're building a huge plant. You're going to put that there? If the school wasn't there, you'd probably have me all on board. But there's not a lot of people that work at these things, mostly security guards. The people that do work them are probably from far away. They're not giving back. It's only take. It's not give and take. And I feel that that's why everybody here is so outraged that we all took time out of our day to come here. And we're terrified that those 3 people are going to make the wrong decision just for tax money, selling out the people's health, the environment, the list goes on. So that's, and why am I here fighting? Just for the kids in that school, the noise. I've been in every single steel mill up here. I've been in GM stamp press facilities, Chrysler. My family owns an oversized trucking company. I no longer work there. I started my own business, but that stuff's not good by people. Now, if they were paying for the grid upgrades and like we can go through all of that, they weren't just leeching off of the people and they were putting in a great spot, you might have me on board for data centers, but every single one here that's happened just in Porter County, much less across the United States, it is extremely questionable.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And folks, I failed to mention that we have a county council meeting after this meeting, so let's try to keep it, so we keep things rolling. And I just want to clarify, you mentioned eventually, if everything goes through as it may, eventually it comes in front of your Porter County Board of Commissioners, which I am a member of. We don't have, the other 2 are not here. And we will hear, during that process, I'm positive, well, we're doing it right now. We're going to hear from you. Our emails and our phone numbers are published. You can reach out to us at any time. The only thing I do is to ask you is please let this process take place, because it's going to take place, whether I don't like it or whether you don't. It's going to have to happen. Let's see what we can learn by it. We may, at the end of the day, it may be crystal clear that we don't want this in our county. I don't know. I know basically what you know at this point. And, but on the other side is, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing if it is a good thing for our county? That some of the fears that we have are not founded. I don't know. They may very well be founded. I don't know yet. But it's owed its due process according to the Constitution of the state of Indiana. They get their day. So let's all keep that in mind. And again, if you have any questions, the commissioners meet every 3 weeks. You're entitled to come in and ask us questions anytime you want, or call us, or email us, or text messages. I get all 3 of those right now, so a few more are going to make a difference. Who else would like to speak? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Jim, speed it up. Ask this next one.
What?
Ask the next one.
Yeah, if you could come up here, and that way you're ready. We speed this up a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you. My name is Melissa Reed. I live in Center Township in Valpo. Hello, Mr. Vasquez. Can you hear? Can it be turned up?
No, just put it close to your mouth.
I can't eat it. I have a couple of questions. Maybe that's just me being quiet. Sorry, I'll be loud. My dad always said I was anyway. So, as to a deadline of due process for the county attorney, in an email I sent to Mr. Biggs and the other council members, the township people, the city council people, and asked them to forward that to other boards, the school boards. I asked you for a pause because this is a huge endeavor, and it's probably going to be the biggest money deal that goes down in Porter County since the mills. or since one of the mills. So the tactic being rush, rush, rush of these companies, and this one in particular, I'd like to know, is a pause button in interfering with that due process that you're required to give everybody?
Are we doing question and answer?
You don't have to answer. That's just.
I'm going to allow it. I think it's a legitimate question. Scott, if you can, we'll go ahead. But
There's a statutory requirement that I believe when we by statute, when the plan commission is in receipt of a completed application, I believe we have 30 or 45 days. It's 30. It's either 30 or 45 days that must go to plan commission.
Okay.
So I guess the easy answer is no, we can't pause.
Okay. That information, and I was the person that put the written Freedom of Information Act request out there. All of those completed applications are dated February 20th. So we should see that meeting in a couple of weeks.
I don't want to get into a game of semantics, but the plan commission staff have to deem it complete before it moves forward.
Okay.
Just because a developer or a landowner submits an application, that doesn't mean it's completed.
Okay. There are no check boxes checked on it from staff, so that makes sense. I believe we were notified by one of these council members, a commission member, through one of the adjacent landowners. And in my email to some people here, I believe what I said was for a company to come in and choose a location next to a school, pretty much making any other adjacent land not suitable for anything else other than the same industrial use. Does that not speak volumes as to their character to choose a location by a school? I just don't know that people understand this company is a $140 billion company about ready to get set with cash from a Wall Street IPO. So it's very possible they do this without asking you for handouts. And I just want people to be aware that I'm shaking right now, and it's not near my yard, because I don't know that anybody is convinced in the government that the intention is clearly bits and pieces zoning. Because once you take 100 acres, what do you do with the next door neighbors? And it'll end up 100 or 800 or 1,000 acres. And then the school will be really stuck, and it will, people will move. Right now, the one owner, and in their ordinance, they want these buildings 120 feet plus a 20-foot parapet wall for 140 feet height, 3 Walmarts tall, 50-foot setback, surrounding in a C shape around a nice little 3-bedroom, 2-car garage ranch house on a couple of acres. I don't know if you've all seen the movie Up. It's a cartoon movie. The old guy in the house floating up with balloons. But that's what this proposal looks like. And that's what I mean by it speaks to their character. And I think everybody needs to be aware that they don't care coming in here about any of us. And when you have a one-sided negotiation, you have to filter it through. Is anything they say really true? And will any of it come to fruition in a harmless way and in the amount of money that they've told you that you should be able to reap once you do sewage bonds? I'm going to say something and it's going to upset people. But no, I will. On June 2024 meeting, a non-voting member, was heard hot mic saying, well, tell those Chesterton data people to come over here. We'll have the zoning all ready for them. But I'd like to know what the level of expertise is to realize that this zoning is not light industrial. These are new creation from 2022. They've just built the first ones in 23 and 24. No effects of these have been studied. They're such a big scale. And I don't think Porter County has any business becoming their lab rat. So I just want you to know that that's what we are feeling as a county, even people that it doesn't affect. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Say your name and where you live.
Kevin Riberty, 336 North, 375 West in Valparaiso. I'd like to start by saying that I think Porter County is a great place to live.
Agreed.
And I think Union Township is a great place to live, and it's not some place that you land by accident. I grew up in Union Township, graduated from Wheeler. As soon as I could, I came back. I've got a 16-month-old daughter, and I was tickled to death to see her become a Bearcat. And thinking about this type of a development, directly bordering the schools, feels unconscionable to me. To the point made earlier, data centers are new. I'm not against any progress. I'm not against any construction. But I'm not interested in running this experiment a quarter mile from where my kids spend 7 hours a day. I understand this process, and I respect that process. I don't want to interrupt the process. You guys have to work through this through all the appropriate channels. What I'm concerned about is the end. I think that in Porter County, the residents have spoken pretty clearly. We had a proposal in Burns Harbor, and there was outrage. We had a proposal in Chesterton, and there was outrage. There was a proposal in Belleville. Union Township doesn't have the numbers that Chesterton or Belleville has. But there's still outrage, and we deserve to be heard, just like everyone else. So while I respect this process, I would encourage you to continue to listen to your constituents, as you did with the Malden Solar Farm. When we say this is not something that we want in our backyards, I would encourage you to hear our voices. Thank you.
The question: Who was your dad?
Scott.
Yeah, I think I went to high school with him. He graduated from Portage?
77.
Yeah. Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't have.
Is it on? It should have been on.
It seems very quiet, and I'm a very loud talker.
There you go.
Okay. All right. I'll try and hold this real tight. Okay. All right. I don't have a great grand speech prepared for today. It'll be coming. Don't you worry. I know we're in the very beginning stages. I know this isn't even on currently the agenda. So today I just have a couple of questions. My biggest question is, who is Barnes and Thornburg, and why are we bringing them in? You guys are saying we're bringing this in only for a TIF issue in South Haven. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because they also have represented multiple hyperscale data centers in Indy and Monrovia. So to me, that's a big red flag. And I don't like how that looks. I also am a little biased probably, or burned on this process in general, because I know some of you in here know me from this. I know Jim probably knows me from this. I have been fighting tooth and nail against the Willow Creek extension. Have it what you will. I understand it would be great if you didn't live there, but some of us live there. So one of the big concerns that we had with that, which that project is still not even not even complete. I know it's probably a done deal. I'm going to keep fighting it though. But we were also promised that on either side, for a mile on either side of that road, there would be an overlay. And obviously that was Bob Thompson still happened. Mike, I have already talked to, and he has agreed that he would respect our wishes on that. So we wanted to keep, even if that highway did split our farms in half and our homes in half, we did want to keep that area residential and agricultural as possible. And here we are. That project's not even done, and now we have an industrial park in our backyard, which is the extreme opposite. I think any of us would rather have a Walmart instead of a data center next to us, if that's what we really had to choose between. So, I mean, like I said, I'm a little scorned on that topic in general, because I know what it's like when the county keeps telling us, oh, don't worry, there's nothing yet, there's no information, this is down the road, this committee doesn't even have anything to do with it. But I know there's internal discussions. I know there's stuff going behind closed doors, and you're getting your ducks in a row so that when we do actually have that information, then we're hit with a brick wall, and then it's useless. I can't do anything. You guys already have all the information inside that you need, but you didn't give it to us. So it just puts us at a huge disadvantage. We're already at a huge disadvantage in this scenario in general. So, like I said, it's something I personally am a little scorned about. I know there is a lot of issues with allegedly there are issues with our revenue in this county, and I understand that this is a big revenue maker. The only thing I did look, when I looked online, there was a lot of information missing. So if someone is able to provide is there some type of financial information we can find for 21, 22, or even 24? I know is not posted yet. So I don't know if anyone is able to give us that information so that we could compare and see if we're supposedly in trouble, what trouble we're looking at. And then really, last but not least, like I said, I know there's a lot. I sent an email today. To me, this is killing an entire community. This is not just, I mean, at what cost? You know, the old adage, money doesn't buy happiness, money doesn't buy everything. So yes, there can be some perks I'm sure this data center can bring. I just think it's in the wrong spot. Personally, and people take this the wrong way all the time, but why is someplace like Gary not being considered? I mean, Gary has the power resources that they need right there. Gary has the highways that they need right there. Gary has an airport right there that they need. Gary is closer to Chicago that they say they need. Literally, they have all of these things. What does Wheeler, Indiana have to do with any of that? It does not have those things. So if they want those things will come. And that is a whole different animal in itself. And like you said, that's just something we're worried that it essentially comes down to 3 people at the end of the day to determine our fate. So just, there will be more to come from me, but for now, that's all I have. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name's Kyle Duarte. I also went to Wheeler. Bought my first home in Wheeler. I am that 3-bedroom, couple acre house that is right in the middle. So obviously, pretty heavily impacted by this decision. I was going to touch on the Willow Creek stuff as well, but obviously that's been already discussed a little bit. The overlays and how this massive bill would no longer keep us residentially zoned. Obviously, you have your power consumptions, your water consumptions, your noise, your backup generators. All these generators have to run for maintenance weekly on most occasions. If you have 500 generators that run weekly, well, by the time you get to the end of the generators, guess what? You got to start back over. So that's all noise pollution, air quality pollution, right next to your school, right next to me, and your other residents that are here. The hyperscale data center size it's pretty massive. I know people that work in the new Carlisle one, and it's a maze. I mean, it's impressive and terrifying at the same time. I've seen that I&M Power was saying that these hyperscale data centers by 27 will use 50% more than the 420,000 residential residents that they serve. The power densities have doubled in the last 2 years, and they're projected to double again in the next 2 years from now. So none of that obviously is going to stay the same. It's only getting bigger and worse. The other thing it's talked about so much is the revenue from them. Indiana residents on average pay 14.42 cents a kilowatt hour, while industrial pays half of it. I don't see how it's fair for a massive multi-million dollar company to come in and be charged half of what someone making $100,000, $80,000, whatever the case is, half of what their energy costs them. I just kind of like to finish up with a quote here. Some of you guys may recognize it. It was one of the better quotes that I've heard a politician say in a long time. And it goes as follows. And do we really want to take away the choice of our local community? We serve the citizens of Porter County, and we never want to serve anyone else's interest because that is who elected us. We do not have power. We have authority given to us by those who elected us for these positions. So let's serve them 100%. And if the local people don't want something, then by God, we better pay attention. Thank you, guys.
Jim.
What?
You him up.
You. Oh, anybody else like to speak? Go ahead and step up over here.
I'll try and make this kind of quick. My name is David Hyman. I live in Valparaiso. Like several others that have spoken today, I grew up here. Jim, you and I spoke via email yesterday. Mr. Vasquez, we spoke on the phone. I appreciate you guys reaching back out. I think that's important. I'm hoping that you guys can talk with other commissioners that they should be just as communicative as you guys are. One of the things I wanted to bring up was, Mr. Vasquez, when we were talking on the phone yesterday, you told me that you were unaware of the contract for Barnes and Thornburg. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, that is why I abstained in my vote.
Okay. Is that common where somebody on the redevelopment commission is unaware of a vote of something that's as important as this? Is that common, or do you guys have discussions prior to vote?
May I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm new to the commission, okay? And I've been answering a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. Because when people ask me a question, I deal with it as soon as I can. And I mean, like, I called you.
Yes.
The other, down there, Melissa as well, and a bunch of others, even though I talked to them, I was being called a liar and a few other things. But for me, I was looking at the packet today, and I got a call from, I'm going to blame Mr. Biggs here, and he wanted to talk to me. I said, I'm reading some of my emails, and I just started reading some of the things that I needed to be and prepare for today. So I got this, I believe, Wednesday, maybe? Last week. But I've had about 130 phone calls that I've addressed, and that is my fault in regards to not knowing this material. And I was reading it while we were sitting here, and that's why I abstained vote. Yes, it's not normally the case where the members of this body are not getting this material and reading it, but I thought it'd be better if I addressed yours and everyone else who's talked to me. And believe it or not, I got one call at 11:40 at night, but I talked with that individual, okay? Because I know everybody's concerned. But in order for me to say yes to this particular thing, I would have had to read it. And having not read it, I voted abstain. That's why, sir.
I appreciate your honesty. I really do. And I appreciate that you abstained. I think that, obviously, like you said, you're new to the board. And like I told you on the phone, I am very new to local politics. And that's shame on me. I should be more involved. Something else that I've read, and again, I don't want to get off on tangent, but I've read and spoke to individuals about is these solar farms that you've discussed tonight. It's made very clear that the commissioners have made a point that no solar farms. But is that not against the due process rule? I mean, can the commissioners come out and say, hey, we are not going to do solar farms, but we're going to still open up an opportunity for data centers? Would a potential solar farm submit an application, petition for an application? You would have to give them that due process by law. But you guys have made it very clear. We don't want solar farms. Our constituents don't want solar farms. We're not going to have them. Obviously, it's like Kevin Riberty said over here, it's clear that nobody in Porter County wants these things. When is the commissioner or the commissioners going to take that same stance as they did on solar farms?
Let me answer that real quick.
Yes,
sir. The Board of Commissioners have not come out with a statement that we're not going to allow solar farms. Now, I have made personal statements over the last year or two that I don't like them, but I do not represent as an individual Porter County Board of Commissioners. If someone wanted to come in and apply to put, say, a solar farm in Morgan Township, they can apply. Now, whether or not they get it or not, it's another story. They have that right. We haven't put a moratorium on, and several counties have done that. They put a moratorium on solar farms in their county, and we have not done that. But we took a different route with it. Is that if and I think it almost touches on a couple of things that some of the people have said tonight. If we are going to allow that, it needs to be in the right place, and it has to be clear, whether it's on paper or whether you're speaking about it verbally, that's clearly in the best interest of our county to let it in. If you got to take 5 or 6 hard looks at it, it's probably not. So, but we have not. You can apply to put a solar farm in a county, but we for whatever reasons for various reasons I should say we decided not to move forward with that. But again, because I can assure all you folks is emotionally invested in this is that you are. There's people sitting in their homes right now in their recliners that are reading the paper about this that want it for various reasons. Yeah. Well, like it or not, I can assure you of that. What we owe ourselves as residents and taxpayers is to see this process through. So when it's over, we can with a clear conscience say, this really isn't us here. I was born and raised here. I'm 7th generation. I think we're kind of unique here, and I like that uniqueness. I like that I can jump in a car and drive almost any direction, and within 5 minutes, I'm right next to a bean field. I like that. So this process we're going to take our time with, because we have never done this before with this type of project, and we're going to make sure we get this right. And if we end up saying no, there's going to be clear reason for it. If we end up saying yes, there's going to be clear reason for it, and everybody's going to understand those reasons. You may not like them, whether you're for them or whether you're against them, but it's going to get its due process. So we know that we have made the right decision, because, folks, I'm just going to be real honest with you. We all pay taxes. I pay property taxes, pay income taxes, just like you all do. But I can tell you emphatically, we have come to a fork in the road here in Porter County government where we need to decide who we're going to be. And that is, if we enjoy the current quality of life that we have here in this county, we need to decide whether we're going to reinvest. Now, I don't know if that is a data center or whatever it is, or an increase in our income taxes to fill the void. But we're going to have to do something, because everything that we do here is service driven, and the vast majority of our income, our revenue that we collect each year, goes toward personnel services. The vast majority of those personnel services are public safety. And it's a little more unique here than it is in the municipalities, because we run a jail, we run a juvenile detention center, we run the courts, and we run the E911 center. So I, as your commissioner, I'm sitting there watching a vase roll off the table. I can do one or two things. I can watch it roll and hit the ground and break, or I can jump over, reach out, and grab it before it does break. I'm trying to. We need to do something before the vase breaks, and that's why we're looking at this. We didn't go out and ask somebody, hey, apply here for a data center. They come to us. They knocked on the door. It surprised us as much as anybody else. We did not hang a shingle out saying we're open for business for data centers, but they have, and they have the constitutional right for due process, and we as citizens, it is in our best interest to hear it out. So when we get to that point, if it is going to be no, we are crystal clear of why it's no. And that just makes it better for everybody. So I spoke too long.
No, it's all right. No, no, I know, and I appreciate that. I just, that was pretty much all the questions I had. Just quick circle back. You said about the solar farms. It's your personal opinion. I am hopeful and look forward to your personal opinion on data centers.
Oh, you're going
mirroring the same personal opinion you have on solar farms. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Amy Herring, and I am a stone's throw away from this hyper data center. I am extremely emotional about this situation because not only is it in my backyard, but it's also where my child is going to go, is in school. I have an 11-year-old, and my 2 older daughters graduated from Wheeler. I consider Wheeler to be the most amazing place to raise children. It is the best community that you could ever possibly live in. You're not a number, you are a name. And that is something that I do not want to lose for our community. And I am completely understanding what you're saying by hearing everything that everyone has to say. But the number one thing that Porter County needs to know and remember is this place has integrity. Mm-hmm. And that means that we're not going to let people come in and treat us like guinea pigs. Okay? And I'm not saying you can tell me tomorrow, you can give me all the data in the world. You can show me everything that these big companies are going to tell us are good for our community. But I've come to the conclusion, or what I've been told, is that these places, they hire 8 people, maybe, and they do come in and they leave quickly, they leave messes, they leave everything. But at the end of the day, if we're going to bring something into our community, let's build subdivisions and bring people into our schools and make more family atmospheres, not huge corporations that just want to tear down my whole block, my whole area. They are sectioning us off, and I am a stone's throw away. It's not my next door neighbor, but I can tell you this, I won't live here. I won't live by it, and I know multiple people that will not live by it. And if this was in your backyard, every single one of you, I guarantee you, there is not one of you that would want it. Not one.
Excuse me. I'm Leroy Bessler. I came here from Wisconsin on July 3rd, so I can't boast of being a lifelong resident. At any rate, like all of you, I myself served in local government when I was back in Wisconsin. And, you said, Mr. Biggs, if I understood you correctly, you said that, well, there are people at home in their recliners who are in favor of this data center. Well, Mr. Biggs, there's no way for you to know that. There's no way for me to know that. The only thing we know is these people have an opinion. The people who haven't come are not necessarily in favor of the project, and they may not even know that it's coming. They may be indifferent. We don't know really what their opinion is. And the one thing I found in local government is that the elected officials are subjected to, advocates for proposals. The people who come to local government for a decision, they're not coming to local government to do a favor for somebody else. They're coming to local government in their own interest. They come with attorneys. They come with high-powered consultants. They do and in my experience, elected officials are frankly over receptive to the advocates for projects. They're overly receptive, and they're given a strong and sometimes persuasive message. So the fact of the matter is we don't know how the people at home feel about this. So,
Thank you. Next, anybody else like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, may I remind you that we'll be pushing pretty close.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, and I'll let you speak.
Okay.
But let's just make this the final one. We got a council meeting barking on our heels here outside. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Could you state your name, please?
Yes, my name is Corey Griffith, and I live in Union Township, also a stone's throw away from this proposed data center. I'm not going to say I've been involved in politics long or local politics. Obviously, I'm still pretty young. But I just wanted to come to this council meeting today and say that I actually moved from Lake County to Porter County. I'm a first time homeowner. And my thing with Porter County is I love Valpo. I think it's great. It's great for my kind of lifestyle. You guys have all the great things here. You're 20 minutes from the beach. You know, there's tons of restaurants here. It's great for young people to come and live. And whenever I tell people I live in Valpo, they are kind of jealous because they always say, "Oh, I love Valpo. I wish I could live in Valpo. Valpo is so awesome." And so they're always like happy to come here and spend their money really on like restaurants and things like that. So I really just wanted to speak on that. And I think having such like an industrial size building, like such a large scale data center would really ruin the Valpo experience, especially for young people. It being industrial, it doesn't create a good atmosphere, I think. And being a stone's throw away from the data center, I love where I live. I love my home. It's quiet, and I brag to people all the time, like, "Oh yes, I'm just 10-minute drive to downtown, but I have the peace and quiet here." I wouldn't have that anymore, and I think that is something that people need to think about. Is it would really change, I think, what Valpo is to a lot of people and how a lot of people see Valpo. And another note, and if it's really just for like revenue purposes, I think that we can look into other ways, like you said, maybe raising the income taxes, and also think of Chicago. They have a food and beverage tax. If you go out to eat, if it's really that big of a deal, like if we're really missing that much money, there are other ways to make up for that money. If you go out to eat in Chicago, you're paying tax on that. It's just how it is. And while maybe I won't like that either, I would like that a lot better than a data center in my backyard. So that's all I have to say.
You did pretty well for a newbie. So. Well, thank you all of you very much. It's receiving information. It's communication that gets us closer to making the right decision. I appreciate it. We're going to continue this in another venue Mike Jabo, the executive director, is planning something a little more formal, a little more comfortable, and to where we can get the information that we need before a decision is made. Thank you, and all have a good night. Thank you. Recess.